Everybody, I've been working on a template that will help you create a Palladium wet plate print. Now, what in the heck is that? And by the way, that was requested by a few of you, so I finally got around to it. So we're going to take an image that looks like this right here, and we're going to convert it into a Palladium wet plate look that looks like this. Are we ready for this? Let's do it. Everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to the channel, this is dedicated to photography and as a photo artist trying to push ourselves out of the box creatively. Okay, this has been a long time overdue, but I finally got around to it. A lot of hours to put together a template that'll help you create what's called a Palladium wet plate type look in your image. And let me show you some examples here, and then I'm going to dive in and actually walk you through how you could actually create it with this template. All right, this is just a stock image here, and I can take that and give it a unique look by doing this. And again, I'll talk a little bit more about a Palladium wet plate look, but a wet plate tends to have some blurred areas in it, where a Palladium without the wet plate look is just a Palladium print, tends to be more in focus. So you can have the option of doing either one. So this is an example. I will do this one for you. There's a landscape one right here. And then a still life, any really, genre of photography you can think of. I did some research, and this is some examples of actual Palladium prints that have that wet look, because again, you're going to see some blurriness around there. And then there's another one, a little bit of softness around there, but sharp in the middle, but a little bit blurred on the side. This one has no real blur to it, so this would be like a traditional Palladium print without the wet plate type of look. All right, so let's jump into Photoshop and see how we can do this. All right, before we jump into the project here in Photoshop, let's go to buymeacoffee.com/Stephen Photo Artist. You'll see the link at the bottom of the screen. It will be in the show notes. And this is where you can find this template. If you like what you see, you could download it there for $7. So let's take a look at it right here on the website real quick. If you go to, again, buymeacoffee.com/Stephen Photo Artist, you'll come to this page here where you can donate. By the way, I appreciate the people that have been supporting the channel by donating a coffee for $3, or some are buying 3 cups of coffee to 5 cups right there. Some have even done 10, but the important thing is go to the Extra tab right here. If you go to Extra tab, you're going to see different things that you could purchase. A lot of people have been doing it. And if you go to this one right here, Palladium Wet Plate Template, if you click on it, there will be about a 4-minute video explaining what you get and how the template actually works, along with the training video. And if you like what you see, you just add it to your cart and cash out at the end. All right, let's get into Photoshop now, and let me walk you through what you get and how to build it using this template. All right, right here in Photoshop, this is my workspace area. So I'm just going to double click anywhere on the workspace area to get the open dialog box. Navigate to the templates that you had downloaded off of the buymeacoffee.com/Stephen Photo Artist. And this is what you're going to get. You're going to get 2 templates. I'll talk about the templates more in depth a little bit later, but you're going to get a horizontal one and a vertical one. These aspect ratios are similar to like a medium format camera, if that's where it was shot. And then I'm going to give you these 3 images to practice with. And obviously you want to use your own, but you could follow along in the video and try these 3 right here. And then you will get a training video. Okay, let's talk about the images to use. When you photograph, let's say a person, a portrait, whatever, and you want to come up with that look, you want to make sure that your background is on the light side, so you have a good contrast with your subject here versus the background. Avoid a dark background. Landscape tends to work with anything. At least I found that. But if you're going to do still life, same thing. I would make sure that the background is on the light side. It doesn't have to be white, but just on the lighter side, and have good contrast between your subject and the background right there to get the best results. Okay, so let's start out with, I'm going to do one that's going to be, let's say, horizontal. And we're going to use the landscape image here. So I'm just going to select that. You could double click on it or just hit open here in the open dialog box. And then this will open up. Now, I'm going to give you some ideas and suggestions on how you would work with this. I designed this in such a way that if you look at the red area right here, that should be your default when you open this up. And it says insert photo here, double click. So you're on this, double click. This opens this up in a separate tab. And what you do is go to your file drop-down menu right here. And about 2/3 of the way down, choose Place Embedded. When the dialog box opens up, navigate to your image. I'm going to use this one right here. Click on Place, and it drops it right in. Now, you're going to have to resize this and adjust it because, again, our camera uses a different aspect ratio if you're shooting in a, say, 35 millimeter format type thing. This is more of a medium format camera that was shot at, but you find a lot of Palladium prints are done in this aspect ratio. Just position this where you want it. I'm going to choose Enter on my keyboard to accept that. And now that I'm done, I just go over here to close out of that tab. It should ask me, should I save this? Yes, right there. Then here's where we're going to start customizing everything. This is our default. And I want to talk about stuff that we can change and do here. So you don't want to accept the default setting because, again, just based on your image, the colors are being used, contrast, all these different variations. So I'm going to recommend you do this. Go to the top stack, click and drag, and shut off all the visible layers like that. So you're left with this one right here. Now, what you're going to do is make a decision. Do you want a wet plate look or a traditional Palladium look? Doesn't matter. You got to choose what you want. By default, it's the wet plate look because we have a blur right here. Double click on the blur. And when this opens up, you're going to most likely move this blur around that fits the image you're working with. So let me over-exaggerate this. You can move the intensity of the blur by clicking and dragging on this circle right here. Or you can go on the far right over here in the properties panel, and you'll see a blur slider. So you can move that from the right side to the left side. Now, here's what I want to point out right here. You've got these little nodes right here. If I click and drag, everything inside this area is in focus. The blur starts here and goes out to the outer edge. So if I click and drag this in, notice how the other three nodes move in. If I click and drag it out, it goes out to the outer edge. So what people don't know is if you hold the Alt key down, Option on a Mac, and then grab one of these right here. So again, I'm holding the Alt key down, Option on a Mac, click and drag up and down. It's moving it individually. The other three are not moving. So I might want to pull that down a bit. And I'm going to grab this one, do the same thing. And again, I'm holding that Alt key down. That'd be Option on a Mac. And you can actually readjust the areas that you want to be, say, in focus and the rest to be blurred. So play with that. If you don't want this at all, let me click on OK to accept that. If you don't want the sort of the wet plate type look, you would just turn that blur off right there and then continue on with what I'm going to share with you. But I like the wet look. And by the way, if you decide that you're going to print this out, it really looks good on, I would say, not a glossy and definitely not a matte print. You want to go with a semi-gloss type style print, and it just works better with that wet plate type look. So with this, again, the blur activator right there, I would start at the very bottom where it says exposure. Activate that. And then if you expand this, you can get into here, and I set this up that you can go in and adjust your exposure based on, again, your image. So I'm going to leave that alone. So I'm going to compact that down. This is optional. Do you want a film grain? I don't know if that's going to show up. Let me zoom in. So this is the grain. That's off and that's on. And if you think, oh, that's way too intense, but I do want grain, then what I would do is make sure you're on that layer and just pull the opacity down to make it look the way you want it to look. So I might drop this down to maybe close to 25%, let's say. So hopefully that shows up. Okay, the next thing, let me pull back on this so we can see the entire image, is contrast. And I do have some presets in there for you. So if you click on one, that's the contrast you're getting. You want to hide that, click on a different one. That's what you get. You can adjust over here in properties on the far right side if you want. You could activate both if you want. Totally up to you. I think I'm going to go with this one right here. And again, this is all based on your vision, right? There's no right or wrong on this. Now, dark exposures. I want to explain something here. When you expand this, you've got 3 textures I had put in here. You don't have to choose this one. You could pick any one you want, or use all 3, and you could play the opacities. Don't get disillusioned because, oh, this is way too dark. Watch what happens now. I'm going to choose all 3 of these. I'm going to close out of this, and I'm going to go to this area called light textures. And when I select that, see how that lightens up? And then let's take a look at this one. Or you might like them both. I'm going to go with that one based on this image right here. Now, here's where the fun starts. When I go to black and white, now normally Palladium prints are in black and white. They don't have color in it. They have a tone, but no color. Some do, though, Palladium prints by itself, and it's always subdued. So you could play with this area that if you do activate black and white, you could, like in this example here, pull the opacity down to get the look that you want, or you do want it, black and white. So I'm going to leave mine alone at black and white. And you've got a couple of choices there. One I did, and that is using channels as a way of adjusting things. Maybe lighten it up. Or if you prefer the traditional black and white filter, all these things, again, are non-destructive. So I might go in and play with this one. And again, it's based on your image as to, how far you go with this stuff. And you might want to use both of these. I mean, you could activate both and just play with them back and forth to get the look that you want, right? So there's no right or wrong. It's your vision. Once you have that done, and I'm going to close out of that, I'm going to activate. I'm going to share with you a technique here in a minute. By the way, if you're learning anything, if you could do me a favor, and that is like the video, subscribe if you have not subscribed, and hit that notification bell. Next time I upload a video, you'll get notified on that. Now, with this activated here, there's this tone here that I did by default. You can see it right here. There's another one. Let me close out of that. That tone looks like this. You might want both of them. You can go over here to adjust and change and add more to the tone or less. Play around, get the look that you want. And then when you're done, here's my recommendation. To finish this off, be at the top of the stack, do a visible stamp layer, which is on a PC. It is Shift-Control-Alt-E, like an Edward. Shift-Command-Option-E on the Mac. And you'll get a visible stamp layer. Then consider doing this. In the drop-down menu here, we got these different blending modes again. And you could play with these different ones to get a unique look. Like, ooh, I like overlay. Sometimes I like this, a color burn or linear burn, but that's too much. You could pull the opacity down, move that back up. But in this one, I think I like, vivid light. I like that. So again, not right or wrong. I might go, maybe close to 50%. So there's my before and after right there. And that's your finished project. And so I took a lot of time to create this template. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. And again, for the ones that are purchasing this, thank you very much. All right, I'm going to end this video like I normally do, and that is let's get that camera out, practice, let's make mistakes. Why? Because we learn from mistakes, and let's push ourselves creatively, literally out of the box. Until next time, see ya.